But if you want a more in-depth conversation about your system where you want to go over your entire setup, you want to go over your cables, and perhaps me recommending a certain amplifier, preamplifier, I urge you to schedule a consultation through my website, jaysaudiolab.com. During these 1 hour long consultations that I host, that I have with you all, I am essentially completely raw and uncut. I will give you everything you want to know, including things that I'm not in position to say on YouTube. Do bigger speakers usually sound better? In my experience, yes. They typically just have less limitations, meaning they're able to throw up a bigger sound stage. They are typically able to give you a better bass, obviously, depending on the room, and they scale better. And smaller speakers have limitations. They don't get down to whatever, 20 hertz. They typically have compromises in terms of the sound stage, and obviously the room in which they can be in. So, yes, typically that is the case, although not always the case. And please, like, don't take offense to what I'm about to say. Don't take offense to what I need to say. But I think a lot of you are grown men and some women, and you can appreciate honesty. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of the attackers, people that seek out to destroy expensive gear, typically are those that cannot afford it. That's typically the case, which is okay. Not everyone makes the money to buy any of this, but I just think that on average, when I read the comment section, I wonder what their system consists of. What do they have? Why are they critiquing? Don't get me wrong, some DACs are getting out of control, $300,000 plus. I think by the year 2030, we may see a DAC that might be $1 million. We already had a cartridge that was $1 million that Darzeel released like 2 years ago. I do believe that the DAC conversation will get pricier and pricier and pricier. It's not going to get cheaper. I do think we might see a $1 million DAC by the year 2030. I think so. I think we'll see that. Martens must vacate the building. Well, I have to tell you something. Let me make sure I pump the brakes, because if you think the Martens are going to be leaving the building, I don't think so. I have not really started to play with them at length because the TADs came in. And so you can say that the TADs interrupted my workflow with the Martens. The Martens do things that the TADs are not capable of. So, if you want to know the difference right now between my Marten Mingus orchestra and the TADs, I can tell you several things. Number one, the Martens have a lot more finesse. The Diamond Tweeter, it's a speaker that gives me more of a luxury feel, sonically speaking, than the TAD does. The Martens sound far more expensive. The Martens have a bigger soundstage. The Martens have clearly more bass. They can fill a larger room. However, they are very, very revealing as well. Make no mistake, the Martens are going to make you work just as hard as the TADs will, but they're very different. The Martens do have the bleached effect. This is a new term that I'm going to be using going forward. They are bleach sounding speakers from the get-go. That means they sound very clean and clear. Okay? That is not the TADs. They're very neutral. But every change you make on these TADs, the Martens can also reveal it, although differently, because clearly they have more low end. So you're going to be able to pick up more differences down low through the Martens than you will through the TADs. Also, remember, the Martens are $310,000. The TADs are $95K. Different price points. If anything, the Martens should go up against the R1s that are like $180K. The TADs R1s, that is. So it's not an apples to apples comparisons, but I can tell you the TADs can definitely hang with the Martens in some respects, although not everything, but in a lot of good parts of the presentation, I can tell you the Tads can be right there with the Martens, but they're very different speakers for different buyers. The Martens look expensive. They're like a Bugatti. They're very expensive, very premium looking, beautiful top to bottom, beautiful road cases. The Tads come in, unfortunately, very crappy boxes. The Martens come in road cases with wheels, and I believe even the more affordable Martens come on inside road cases. So again, it's just a different buyer in my opinion. The buyer that buys Marten also cares about the looks, not just the sound. The Martens bring the looks. The Martens have this wow factor. When you walk in the room and you look at a Marten, you're like, wow, like I've never seen something so pretty. That's part of the Marten experience. Tad, it's a very polarizing design. Depends who you ask. Some people can appreciate the wood that is being used on the Tad. They may like the fact that it's Japanese, hand-picked wood, and there is a lot of work that goes behind the scenes to make these cabinets. So some people can appreciate that. Others may look at it and say it's an ugly speaker. It looks very old, retro looking. The coloring is not to my liking. So it depends who you ask. Are Martins overrated? Are Martins overrated? Negative. I don't think Martins are overrated. The one thing you have to remember about Martin loudspeakers, and I want to make sure I'm clear, you're going to get a lot of clarity and transparency and definition, but they are very vocal. They will call you out on your shit. If you don't cross your T's and dot your I's, the Martin will let you know real quick. You got to know what you're doing. They like the electronics they like. And as far as the Tads, it's the same way. I dare to say this. Both speakers, the Tads and the Martins, both of them, don't have the flexibility when it comes to electronics as, for instance, the Ultra 7s from Von Strikers do. The Ultra 7s from Von Strikers allow you to play with more system combinations and do a good job at giving you a good presentation with just about everything. Of course, they're going to sound better with some electronics than others. No shock there, no secret. But the Ultra 7s from Bone Striker will definitely give you just better results with a variety of components. The Tads and the Martins, in my opinion, will isolate certain components and they will both let you know which components they like. Okay, so that's something you have to always keep in mind.